What is going on? Give me a second. Let me make sure that my mic is micing real quick. I want to make sure that my mic is micing. Shout out to those watching on YouTube. Shout out to those watching on Instagram. Let's see. Okay, so we know the mic is micing. All right, y'all. The title of this video: Step into your main character energy. It's your codependency that is holding you up. Now, I'm going to get into this. I'm going to get into a story, and at the end, we're going to pull some cards. So stay with me. If you are here, it's because you are supposed to be here. This is for you, right? You're probably at the beginning of your journey or something. This is something that you need to wake up about. So don't click off this damn channel and hit the like button. I'm starting to think some of y'all are haters who just be watching people that don't hit like. It's weird. Don't do that shit. I like people shit. And if I don't like it, then I'm not, I mean, you know what I mean? Then I won't be messing with them, period. Because it just doesn't make any sense. I'm calling y'all asses out. And that's just what it is. So that's that. Truth and Justice Tarot is a Patreon exclusive where I help solve murder and missing person mysteries. Please help me and send in your requests by clicking Send Your Suggestions located under the Contact tab on my website at rockyroadtv.com. Watch the series for free by joining my Patreon. Okay, we're back. So listen, growing up, my household was very stable in terms of we didn't move around a lot. We didn't deal with lack, scarcity, or anything like that. My dad was the sole provider. My mother stayed home. My parents were very religious. My mom more so than my dad. Like he was a religious as far as going to the church, but he wasn't as and isn't still as rigid in his beliefs. I think my mom is kind of like in a religious psychosis. Like the spell has really gotten to her, and a lot of my family on both sides are like that. Okay. Um, Again, my dad's side of the family were really big on church, but I will say, like, when you're in their presence or whatever, they're not trying to hit you upside the head with a Bible or anything like that. But it's very apparent. They make it very apparent that that's their thing. My mom, they're trying to recruit you like Jehovah's Witnesses. They're trying to figure out why you don't believe what they believe and all of that kind of stuff. So that's the type of tip that they be on. So I just wanted to lay that foundation out. With that being said, my mom was a different type of situation. So here we are. We are from Detroit, Michigan. We lived into Detroit on a street called Sunderland. It's not too far from this car wash. I don't even know if the car wash is still named that, but it was VIP car wash off 7 Mile. So we stayed between 7 Mile and Outer Drive on a street called Sunderland. My dad still owns the house to this day. And at the age of 8, we moved out and moved to the suburbs right across from 8 Mile, which would be known as Southfield. By this time, I had a brother at the age of 3, so we had to expand because that's a house. Was that a bungalow? No, that wasn't a bungalow. I don't know what you would, because it was just a two-story home, but we needed to move out. So we're living in Southfield, and pretty much I've lived in this area my whole life. I stayed in Old Park briefly, and I purchased. My husband and I purchased a home in Southfield. Anyway, watching my parents grow up. I mean, growing up watching my parents was taught me a lot. And if you really think deep into it, if you guys really want to get just pause for 1 second. If you really want to see me clearly, tap in to me on YouTube. Click the link in my bio and go to YouTube. It's Raquel Shelby, Rocky Road TV. If you just click the link in my bio, it will take you to it, and you won't have any problems. So you can get like a better view. If you just want to stay on TikTok and Instagram, that's cool too. At any rate, so watching your parents, you learn a lot growing up. I learned a lot. My mom, She worked, anybody is from Detroit watching this, she worked at Apollo Market over there on 7 Mile Evergreen. She quit when I was like at the age of 5. And so she didn't want to, my mom never really wanted to work. And the problem was not that my dad couldn't afford it. The problem was because he felt like if she was going to be home, she should have did more. My mom didn't have a life. Like her life was church. Her life was TBN Network. If you know anything about TBN Network from my religious people, my Bible thumpers, you would have people coming on there like TD Jakes, Fred Price, Creflo Dollar, Jesse Duplantis. There's another lady, she's Caucasian. I can't think of her name. She has short hair. She's one of them. It was a litany, it was a lineup. It's another motherfucker, Kenneth Copeland. He'd be on there looking like a lizard. And some other scary looking people were on there. And I always be like, what the hell is this about? But my mom watched it nonstop. That was pretty much her life. She really didn't do too much of anything. And so that was the thing, right? If you're gonna be home, like have something going on. Like with my dad, I would have been taking all kind of classes, maybe judo classes, knitting classes. I don't know, find some shit to do, find a life, right? But that wasn't the case. So he began to become very frustrated. And eventually they went on to have my youngest brother. At this point, let's see, I'm 10 years old when my youngest brother came about. We're all 5 years apart. My youngest brother is autistic. He's highly functioning autistic. We're trying to figure out what's going to be done with him because when my mom checks up out of here, she's not giving us any plans. She won't talk about anything. She's not really trying to advance him. He really could have did a lot, but again, these codependent behaviors, right? You're codependent. You want to you find any little loophole to enforce that codependency on your child, which you can argue that he is dependent because of autism, which autism I don't necessarily see unless it's a severe case where they're very low functioning. I don't see reasoning to handicap a child, but when you have your own issues, you do these type of things. Well, it was just a lot going on. My mom began to go deeper into this religious psychosis. That's what I'm calling it. And my dad was going on to do other things. He owned a ton of property. He was running his landscaping company that he's had all my life. He's a businessman. He was out there hustling and making money. He did many of things. He didn't sell drugs, to my knowledge. Yeah, my dad ain't trapping, but he got that money, right? But the thing about it is when you're constantly elevating, you have someone who's not trying to grow in any way, form, or fashion, it kind of hinders you, right? It's like a stagnation. And then conflict begins to occur where the person becomes resentful. In that situation, I did not see that situation work out. They are not married. Since then, my dad has had a girlfriend. He has gotten married and divorced, and he's currently with somebody else now. Okay. And the woman that he married, that he divorced, well, actually divorced him, rather. Baby, I ain't even about to talk about her on my channel. Anywho, I'm not even about to give that any energy. I noticed that my mom growing up was very codependent. And my dad was told that she didn't want to work anyway. This is what I was told, okay? I'm not going to say who told me this or whatever. I'm just saying, supposedly, he was told, hey, she's not a worker. And he was like, "It's not a problem. I got it." But a lot of times we sign up for things that we think that we can handle and it just don't work out right, right? Number one, we can't change nobody. Okay. And what you see is what you get. When you getting with people, you cannot get in disillusions about what they could be, what they're going to be. And a lot of times that potential you could be accurate, but if they don't understand who they are and they don't understand their potential and don't begin to work that potential, you're stuck with what you see, which can be very agitating to you. So you always want to be realistic with what you're looking at and dealing with. So That really stuck out in my mind. My dad would always tell me, you have to have your own. Bless a child that has his own. You have to be able to support yourself. This was something that he always told me, and that stuck with me. Going on, growing up, I am a married woman, and I have noticed any time, like there was a brief period. My kids are my youngest, my 13 and 14-year-old. They're right behind each other, 13 and 14. One was born in July and one was born in August. So it was a time we had a lot going on with babysitting and stuff like that. Well, when I noticed any time that I had for a very brief moment was sitting at home trying to take care of the kids, it did not work out. It did not work out. And I've learned from personal. You cannot, even with the best intentions, today's with the energies and being different. And I want to say, as I'm saying this, you have to use your discernment when listening to anybody, me and whoever. You got to go off what works for you, what makes sense for your life, because I am not you, you are not me. Our experiences, our understandings are not the same. I'm simply explaining from my point of view and my understanding of life, right? It might be applicable to yours and it might not. So I'm just saying, listen with caution. At any rate, I've known personally, I have anytime that I have needed anybody and didn't bet on myself, it never went right. And the thing about that is I've never been like a codependent person, but there are times that you come into difficulties and you need people's help, but you cannot rely on that. You always got to go. You have to step in your main character energy, right? You have to be who you are. You have to discover who you are, know who you are, and stand in that and flourish in that. Because when you try to rely on other people for your livelihood, it's not going to go right. You're always going to be shook and loose in some way, form, or fashion. There's always going to be a tower moment because life is going to always show you, again, in my experience, that you have to count on you and that you have to be self sufficient. Nobody here is here for you to just live off of, okay? And this is one of those things like with religion also has caught us is another system that causes us to be codependent or think it's okay to be codependent, and it has done us a great disservice. And the thing about it is, it doesn't matter what you're handed, you have to do the work and use your discernment, right? You cannot never just take what anybody's giving you, because any book that's ever been written, even the Bible itself, has a publishing date. And I need people to understand that. That was the interpretation of people. Period. Yes, we are all expressions of God. So if we want to go and say it's from God, yes, but it's still from an interpretation of the life of the person that is lived. So if you always go off of other people's interpretations of life, you can take them as a reference point. You can say, okay, checkpoint, I'll make note of that. But you always have to go by your own guide. You always have to be the one in the driver's seat of your life, because you will find, again, this is my experience. And if somebody has a different experience, please share it in the comments. You're going to realize you're going to be shaken loose for you then to step into your main character energy. A lot of people, I don't care if you're doing business or whatever, you cannot leave your business or anything you do in the hands of other people and take your hands off the wheel. You can't take your hands off the wheel of your life. You can't take the hands off the wheel of your business. There's nothing that you are in charge of that or that is involving you can you take your hands off of. Okay? If you're driving a car, if you're driving, and I'm not talking about in an autonomous driving car, I don't even feel comfortable with no shit like that. I don't even feel comfortable. You cannot sit in your car and get to a destination without driving it. Your hands must be on the wheel or your hand on the wheel. Some of us drive with one hand, some of us drive with two hands. It depends on your driving style to get to your destination. You cannot take your hands off the wheel, you will crash. And that's how life is. When you rely on other people for your livelihood, you will crash. So if you feel like you're stagnant, if you feel like things are not going on your way, ask yourself, are you taking control of your life? Are you stepping in the main character energy of your life? Or are you waiting, hoping, you're looking for some kind of hero, you're waiting for the right time, you're waiting, what are you waiting on? Because once you show up, everything else will line up. But you have to show up. And life can be complicated. We do have times that um we might bump our heads, or we might run into things or whatever. That's just a part of life, you know. But you still have to keep going. You still have to bet on you. Period. My parents did not last. I believe my parents were definitely, excuse me, the extent of their relationship really was to bring me and my two brothers into this world. I definitely believe they were a karmic relationship. I believe it was some things working out on the spiritual side. But I think that's where it led. But for the earthly storyline, they did not work out because my mom did not take control of her life. She was not the main character in her life. She relied on religion. She relied on, I mean, I've even taught, I'm gonna give you an example of what I'm talking about. One day I was talking to my mom about life insurance or something like that. And she says, "Well, I don't plan to die because Jesus is going to come back and get me." So when you think like this, when you're always putting something, you're always waiting on something else and putting it on something else. Do you see how problematic that was? She didn't even want to talk about life insurance, getting prepared for her transition and what we're going to do. She doesn't want to talk about these things because in her mind that Jesus is going to come back, he's going to crack the sky with the rapture, and he's going to take her and they're going to ascend to heaven, and she doesn't have to worry about these things. So these were the type of things, this was the thought process that my dad was dealing with, that was frustrating. Now, was he perfect? Neither one of them were perfect, no. But standing and just looking and being married myself and having children myself, you have a lot of compassion for both sides and understanding, right? Because you're trying to find your way. Some people never find their way because they don't take responsibility and accountability for their life. They don't, they're so, in some cases they're traumatized. In some cases they're traumatized and brainwashed. I it was both, I believe, in my mom's case, and she's still in this state to this day. Like, she lives in a place, I believe, where it's like subsidized income, and my brother gets his check or whatever for being autistic, and that's just how that's going. So this is her storyline. I don't fault her, I don't judge her. That's her. I couldn't live like that and will not live like that. There's a lot of things that she does that I will not do. But I know, even down to my astrology chart, like, I was not ever meant to rely on anybody. That's not my path. The minute I yield my power over is when the chaos comes. And so I really wanted to share that. You got the thumbs up. I must have hit the, this thing is interesting. Um Gives you the thumbs up. I wanted to share that with y'all. And I want you to really let me know how you feel about that before we continue. I just want to say, drop your thoughts in the comments. How do you feel about codependency? Do you believe that codependency is productive? I believe, even in a relationship, you should show up with your know-how and being in your main character energy, and so should your partner, right? You guys should be independent and be able to be interdependent, be able to help one another, but no one other person. You're adults, right? So you shouldn't be relying, you shouldn't relinquish all of your responsibility. Oh, I got a partner now, so now I can sit down. No, absolutely the fuck not, because you're going to have issues. I don't care what a person tells you. I tell you what, try it out and you let me know how it works. That's what I have to That's what I have to say about that. Try it out and let me know how it works. I'm writing this thing. I had to end the Instagram, y'all. I had to end it and I'm just, oh Lord, writing the caption. Okay. Let me share this. All right, y'all. Bear with me. Have some patience. Okay. Now, look at this. I want to show y'all these. I got these cards. Y'all know I do the Truth and Justice Tarot, right? So I got these true crime oracle cards and these other cards. They say caution on them. So I can do the whole Truth and Justice Tarot thing. But I need you guys' recommendations. What do you want me to solve? I did do what John Bonet. I did John Bonet on here, but the Truth and Justice Tarot series is really exclusive to Patreon. But I happened to do it live because my girlfriend wanted me to do it. Like she wanted me to do a reading on it. She had watched it and she was like, "Girl, I want to see what you say. Let me know." And her reading was deep, and I did that. But for the most part, it's just exclusive to Patreon, so it's free. You have to sign up for Patreon to see it. So I got those cards I wanted to show y'all. They're pretty dope. I want to be able to use those. But let's see what message we have after we have talked about is stepping into your main character energy. I mean, that's some real stuff. I'm telling y'all, listen. My husband and I were going through over here with the whole babysitters. We was moving people in here, and they weren't, they had the thing where you could live here and don't have to pay any bills. All you have to do is just help us watch the kids when we have to go to work. And some of them were not. They just were not, holding up their end of the agreement. And so it was becoming troublesome. So the my husband and I was like, okay, well, if we pay for childcare, it's so expensive. I might as well just stay home. Well, as soon as that happened, don't you know, my husband they ended up letting him go from his job. So I was like, oh no. It's not even a knock on him. It has nothing to do with him. It's just something that's nudging like, hey, you have to stay in control. I know it's difficult, but you have to. And so that's just because probably if I would have went down that trajectory, then I wouldn't have been prepared for what I have to do. I would have been so comfortable just sitting at home. You don't want to get too comfortable when you have a mission, right? So let's see what message that oh that is here for us. Oh, we got the father of coins here. Okay. So the father of coins is somebody who's um very good with finances, very strategic, knows what they're doing, knows what they're talking about. Okay, so somebody out here, you might be good with finances. Maybe you've been thinking about becoming a not the tax an accountant. Maybe that you've been thinking about that. Okay, you need to pursue that because you're good at that. Okay, we got the six of coins. Okay, it might be a community of maybe your family is just maybe all of y'all. You see, this is like it looks like a father, mother, and daughter. Maybe all of y'all are really financially savvy. Maybe this is a family thing. Maybe this could be a family business that's passed down. Okay. Uh-oh. Let's see what else. See anything else? Uh-oh. Cards falling. Six of wands. Okay. So someone here, I get the picture. Let's see, can you see this? This is giving off a throat chakra energy, right? So someone might be very creative, but maybe they're good at singing or something like that. Maybe they're good at poetry. So that might be something you want to pursue. Become your main character in that. Stand out. These are your abilities. Share them with the world, okay? Share them. You're meant to share them, okay? You're an expression of creator source. And how can you express if you're not expressing? Okay? Here we go. Got the sun card. Okay? The sun card. So this is a very good sign. This is good energy, right? You're being supported. You are the main character. You are here to stand up and stand out. Okay? Put this deck up. We're going to see what kind of soul truths we have. I got more stories. Listen, I got more of why I'm telling you. You've got to be the main character, but I can't give everything in one night. So I will tell my part. My part started after having my first child. I got pregnant, had my child at 19, and I'm gonna go through that story too. That's gonna be another video though. I'm not gonna tell everything. I was just giving a little bit about my parents and stuff like that. But the whole thing, they were setting me up the whole time to show me that I had to be the main character of my story. So this card says, to where does my soul want to travel? See, there's blue too, right? So again, one thing about and I'm gonna read the message, but one thing about when you travel and you see different things and you're exposed to different energies and stuff like that, it begins to spark your creativity. You have things to talk about and share. So it says, when we travel, we grow. Listen to this. Ain't that deep? When we travel, we grow. We open up our little worlds to more adventure, thrills, patience, understanding, trust, and oneness. Our hearts and minds expand and our desires are satisfied. Where is your soul calling you to visit? Today's soul action. Pick a location on your desired list. Choose a date when you will get there and start planning. Create a Pinterest board or start searching on travel sites for the best restaurants. Anything that will create movement to let the universe know you are ready to make it happen. Believe you can. Let's see, any more messages for us? Hey, to anybody, hit the like button if you're coming in, please. Please hit the like button. It helps the algorithm. Somebody needs to hear this, and you can help them hear it by hitting the like button. And drop a comment. Let me know how this message has resonated with you. Let me know your experience. Let me know that you're here. Okay, this is the next message. Am I clear on what my soul really wants? Sometimes we're having a hard time stepping into main character energy because we don't know what we want, right? So, am I clear on what my soul really wants? It says, take out the shoulds and the limitations. Get out of your head and pay attention to your heart's desires instead. If you knew it was impossible to fail, what would you do? Wherever you go, go with all your heart. Today's soul action. Ask yourself, what is it that your soul really wants? What does your heart crave? Then take one step in that direction. Okay? So that's important. We got to know what we want to make a move. And we can't let fear paralyze us, right? We can't expect somebody else to come. We can't, people been waiting on Jesus. We've been waiting on a lot of stuff. And it's just like, at what point do you realize you have to take the steering wheel? When will we do it? If you're just coming in here now, I ask that you start the video from the top. Check it out from the top. Okay. Ramon, I can see it. Hey. Check it out from the top, please. I thank you so much again. Remember this. Truth and Justice Tarot is a Patreon exclusive. where I help solve murder and missing person mysteries. Please help me and send in your requests by clicking Send Your Suggestions located under the Contact tab on my website at rockyroadtv.com. Watch the series for free by joining my Patreon. All right, all right, all right. Please let me know what you thought, how you felt about this. Um, I I believe I got the message out, but you can always leave me a comment, child, when we get back into it. But I'm definitely going to talk about what happened with me after I got pregnant, after I had my child, because I'm telling y'all, I was displaced a lot. I was going through a lot. You talking about mini tower moments. I was going through a lot. But one thing about it, when I took control of my life, it wasn't perfect, but it was definitely way better. Because when you have a child and you're still young yourself, you feel like you need help. I mean, you don't know the fucking world. I didn't know, you know what I'm saying? But I had to figure it out. I had to figure it out. And that's the thing about life. Nobody's saying that it's easy, and nobody's saying you won't have difficulty, but you damn sure can't be codependent on anybody else. Because people, I'm gonna tell you, once they get tired of you, they will walk out, they will put you out, they will shun you away, they will treat you bad or whatever. You always got to be about you. That doesn't mean that you can't incorporate other people in your lives and be considerate of other people or compromise with other people, but that means that you must have yourself together and put yourself first. All right. I love y'all. If y'all want to book with me, you go to my website. You see it's listed at the top, information under the video. Again, sending your suggestions. And love y'all. I'm out.